The European migrant crisis began in 2015 when rising numbers of people arrived undocumented in the European Union, EU, traveling across the Mediterranean Sea or overland through Southeast Europe. According to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, the top three nationalities of entrants of the over 1 million Mediterranean Sea arrivals between January 2015 and March 2016 were Syrian, Afghan, and Iraqi. The number of deaths at sea rose to record levels in April 2015. Amid an upsurge in the number of sea arrivals in Italy from Libya in 2014. Several European Union governments refused to fund the Italian-run rescue option Operation Mare Nostrum, which was replaced by Frontex's Operation Triton in November 2014. Since April 2015, the European Union has struggled to cope with the crisis, increasing funding for border patrol operations in the Mediterranean. The global catastrophe of the refugee crisis has clear ethical considerations. The crisis has raised many important questions in the way nations across the world ought to do about accepting refugees into the country. It is imperative to begin this discussion by understanding the current state refugees. These are individuals whose country is in a vicious civil war, or are in severe grip of poverty and lack of jobs etc., from which they have fled in order to survive and hope for a better lifestyle. The situation can be better explained through an example. Imagine you are a homeowner in a quiet suburban neighborhood, living with your family in a nice, large house. You make plenty of money, have plenty of food, and have extra bedrooms. One night, you wake up to the sound of your doorbell and open the door. Standing there is a homeless man. This man asks you to let him into your home, feed him, and provide him with a bed in one of your many empty bedrooms. So, in this situation, are you morally required to let this man into your house? While it seems clear that it would be an act of kindness to give this man shelter, it surely does not seem to be a moral requirement to do so. Let me present two photographs which have jolted human conscience. The picture was of Kurdi, a 3-year-old Syrian who drowned off the coast of Turkey as his parents tried to reach the EU by boat. A Turkish news agency shared the picture of his lifeless body being washed up, which was referred to as humanity washed up ashore. The photograph of Kurdi's body caused international outrage. French President François Hollande said that the picture must be a reminder of the world's responsibility regarding refugees. There was another shocking photo that hit the newspapers in 2014. It showed two people playing golf amid a paradise of palm trees. But if you look at the top of the picture you see something deeply disturbing. About a dozen other people are scaling a 6 meters high, 20 feet, wire, during an attempt to get into the Spanish enclave of Melilla in Morocco. The contrast between their desperate lives and the luxury golf course is painful. Politicians, concerned citizens, and the media have been hotly debating whether or not we have a moral responsibility to resettle refugees, and if so, how many we ought to resettle. But what if we are engaged in the wrong debate about our moral obligations, one that distracts from a much harder set of ethical and political questions? Our moral obligations are not exhausted by resettling refugees, however generous we decide to be. The vast majority of refugees are never resettled. Almost 99% of refugees, over 59 million people, are forced to live for years, sometimes decades, in underfunded refugee camps or informal settlements, often totally dependent on aid from the international community and denied basic human rights. This is one of the most serious and underappreciated injustices in our world. Human rights define fundamental rights to which a person is inherently entitled simply because she or he is a human being. These rights are inherent in all human beings regardless of their nation, location, language, religion, ethnic origin or any other status. Article 1 of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, UDHR, adopted in Paris by the United Nations General Assembly in 1948 mentions, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. It is our moral obligation to work for world peace, an ideal state of freedom, peace, and happiness among and within all nations and people. Only then human beings can prosper and look for continuous growth.